just joining us, I want to just tell you that I have a pleasure of talking to Aaron Brieno. Aaron Brieno is a Deputy Chief of Staff for the California State Senate, as well as a co-director at the McGeorge Legislative and Public Policy Clinic, and that's the McGeorge School of Law. And I want to say this because most people don't understand the journey that success, success is a journey. I always say that there is no overnight, success. Even if your parents are rich or wealthy, they are the ones who labored for you to be there. So you can't say that you were overnight because someone else paid the price for you. So Aaron, he's a co-chair, as I said, of the McGeorge Legislative and Public Policy, and I'm excited to have him here, to talk about his journey and about his story to inspire other people. He was just saying that he was helping his dad, in building construction, but now he's a licensed attorney in California. He's working in the California State Senate, and he's doing great things. Steps, what did you have to jump? What ropes did you jump to get to your position?
A lot. It's taken a lot. Started with a free internship in the California legislature. When I first moved to Sacramento, I primarily attended McGeorge School of Law because it was in Sacramento, and I really wanted to get involved in state politics. I didn't necessarily know how I was going to get involved or what avenues I was going to take to get my foot in the door. But my very first opportunity came in my very first year of law school. I just printed out a bunch of resumes. I went down to the state capitol and I started passing out my resumes from office to office. I started with the Central Valley members, given the fact that I was from the Central Valley and I had a really strong interest in Central Valley politics. So essentially, that's how I started. I got my very first internship in the state capitol for Assembly Member Henry Perea, and that opportunity expanded from for me being able to intern for free, and then from his staff connecting me with other staff members and recommending that I apply to this fellowship program, which I eventually did. And it was a life-altering experience getting into that fellowship program. It really helped change my life and help really propel my trajectory in California politics.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know what? The story you just said resonates with me because I want to just share a story. Because when I was back in Nigeria, I just finished law school, and I was, I just got my license actually, and I was really, wanted to get into a job. I was applying to jobs online, and I wasn't seeing anything forthcoming. That I printed out my resume as well. Yeah. And I literally walked around my area where I lived, and I was like, there has to be law firms in this area. I Googled law firms, and I went back, dropping my resume in each law firm. Like, I need a job. I'm ready to work right now. I have a license, and I want to work. And, that's how I got a job. I did that on a Friday. By Monday, someone called me and said, all right, come start in my firm. And that was how I was able to get my leg, in the door. And that's exactly what I hear from you. Because, when you have a journey, when you have a goal, you got to be rugged. Sometimes you have to go out there and, knock on doors and say, vote for me, or I need this opportunity, or please come, give me a job. You have to do that sometimes to get what you want. If you have any questions, if you're just joining us, if you have any questions you want to ask, please comment down below. I'm going to ask Aaron these questions. As I said, this Aaron is, is someone who I look up to. He inspires me a lot because of the amount of things that he has been able to achieve, in such a short time in his life, and the fact that he has a servant. Leadership is all about servitude, and he has a servant heart to want to help people. So I want to ask you this question. I don't want to make this as long for anyone. We're going to make this really straight to the point. So what would you say a young leader, and this is the core of this session, what would you say a young leader should be engaged in their 20s? What should a young leader be doing? For someone who's going to watch this right now and say, well, I'm confused, I don't know what to do. What would you say a young leader should be engaged in, maybe say from teenage years to in their 20s? What would you say?
Well, I mentor a lot of young people, and one of the number one things that I can say that really so important is a young leader or somebody who has aspirations to go back to their community and to be influence for change and be impactful in some way, is to really work on yourself as much as possible during your early 20s, and that means getting the substantive knowledge that you're going to need to be a leader in the future. By improving yourself and educating yourself, you can work to elevate other people around you. And I say that from personal experience, but I also have, you can see that just in daily, daily interactions with leaders, you're going to notice that through the early 20s, you really need to work to get to know yourself, to really work on improving yourself, to educate yourself, to inform yourself, so that you can take a leadership role in your late 20s, early 30s, as you develop and progress. Because it's so important that as a young leader, you have the information at hand to make those impactful decisions. And I'll use that example in my life. Moving back to the Central, or working back in the Central Valley,
Hmm.
I never would have been as impactful if I had not worked to educate myself and improve myself, and to become familiar with issues that were impactful to my community, to become familiar with not only the struggles or the barriers, but also looking at opportunities to come to resolutions in those areas. So that's something that I would recommend young leaders work to do, is really work in your early 20s to improve yourself as much as possible, educate yourself, and work to prepare yourself for that next step. And that also as it relates to like mental health, making sure that as far as your base is concerned, that you have a strong support system in your life, as far as spirituality, not only mental health, and then also physical health too. It's so important.
Yeah, yeah. One of our participants, Stella Hannah Cho, she just said that self-development, you shouldn't compromise with self-development, because there's actually just a little that school can give you. There's a little you can learn
Yeah.
from school, or college. The real reality hits you when you graduate. You have to become ready to learn. You have to become ready to read books even more than you did while you were in college. And I think that's one of the things that you just pointed out. So anyone who's listening, self-development is key, and you have to be rugged. Stella and I just said be rugged, and rugged. Being ready to do the dirty work. Put your hands down there and ready to do the dirty work. Now I want to ask you. Well, we have two more questions before we open the floor for questions. Yeah, if people have other questions, or we would also round up, as soon as possible. I want to ask you this question. How did you stay focused? How did you stay focused in your journey, your path? How have you been able to, sort of like, separate distractions and know, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow morning and say I want to become a football player. Or, how did you stay focused in this journey, in this path?
Well, one, it really relates back to emotional intelligence and getting to know yourself and what inspires you, what you're passionate about, what your interests are, things that are important to you. As long as you have a strong focus, and basically it's answering what is my why, or what is that thing that prompts me or initiates me to do what I do. So as long as you know what that is at your core, and it can be, it varies from person to person, but as long as you know what you're passionate about and what is prompting you to continue to improve or continue to work or strive towards some objective, then that's going to be your real focus point. And if you can answer that, like what inspires me, what am I passionate about, what things do I want to pursue a career in, and you can you can answer that with some confidence, then that really helps focus your trajectory moving forward. Because a lot of my decisions are based off of goals that I set in my mid 20s, late 20s, and now that I'm seeing come to fruition, in my early 30s. So as long as you have that in place, and then you have a clear vision for what you're trying to accomplish, and you have written and articulated goals, then it's a lot easier to get to that larger objective if you can point to smaller goals that you have set for yourself as you work towards that bigger goal.
Gotcha. Awesome. We have a question from one of our participants. What are the things a young leader should not get involved with? We see a lot of leaders, in our community, or in our society, doing so many things, and we question, their level of leadership. But what would you say, in your own opinion, you shouldn't get involved with?
Distractions. Like there's so many distractions, and at times, sometimes you have to eliminate those distractions for your life if you have a larger objective or purpose that you're trying to fulfill. And for me, that was obviously law school, but there was a whole host of distractions in my life in the Valley. that were preventing me from, getting that LSAT score I needed to get into law school. So at times, sometimes you have to eliminate distractions for your life. Sometimes it's not easy to identify a distraction, but if you do some self-evaluation, you realize sometimes distractions are people in your life, and sometimes some people are not positive or not a positive influence for you. And at times you may have to eliminate the distraction, whether it's bad habits you've picked up, or if you're not effectively using your time in some capacity. Sometimes you just got to eliminate those so that you can focus and place all your energy behind more meaningful and more impactful, focuses.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, Stella, for that question. I'm going to ask you this question. Why do you love leadership so much? Why do you love political leadership so much?
I really don't. There's other things I'd probably rather be doing, but it's sort of a calling. In a lot of ways, it's a need, especially for minority communities. The black and brown communities. We need leaders. We need people who are willing to advocate on behalf of our communities. Typically, our communities are underserved across this nation. Typically, we don't have a lot of people who can advocate and articulate the concerns that they had. That was something that was instilled in me again by my dad. When he was on the city council, he was one of the very, very few people of color on that city council at that time period. Again, he's on the city council, and he is one of the very, very few people of color. So his opinion and his perspective is always unique, and you see how powerful that is as we come to the table. I mean, especially what's happening in the nation right now, where we see how important it is for communities of colors to unite, black and brown communities to come together, to use their political voice in a way that will allow us to make meaningful changes, not only in the criminal justice system, but in health access, in education. There's a variety of ways where our communities have been silent for too long and have not been been heard. But this is the point where I think we're going to see some meaningful change in the near future, hopefully.
Awesome. Great response to that. Now, this is the final question. If no one has any more question in the chat room, this is going to be the final question, and it's also going to come from Stellar. And the reason why I'm asking this question is because it ties to the last question I actually had for you. So that's good. So the question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what's next for Aaron? Because for me, I can tell you where I see you in 5 years. And that's we've already had this private discussion, So I know that the governor of California. You guys are literally talking to the governor of California right now, and I think that with all sincerity. But where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, hopefully in a leadership role, and that can vary right from a head of a nonprofit to an elected position. And as you and I have talked offline, more and more now, I'm thinking that sort of my trajectory is towards some sort of elected position, whether it's at the local level, whether it's at, whether it's on a commission, there's a variety of ways that you can serve your community. So I have been focusing, I think, more recently on that.
Awesome. Well, that is that for now. Thank you so much, Aaron. For those who are just joining us, we've been having the pleasure of talking to Aaron Brieno, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff of the California State Senate, as well as the co-director of McGeorge Legislative and Public Policy Clinic. You can follow him on Instagram. You can just click on the link, follow him on Instagram, follow him on LinkedIn, and connect with him. See how you can support him. See how you can be of assistance in his journey, and see how you can also collaborate. I'm all about collaboration. I'm all about people coming together and doing things together to help the community, whether it's Black community, whether it's brown community, whether it's the white community. As long as we see people suffering, it behoves us as humans to help humanity to be a better place for everyone. One of my favorite quotes is Muhammad Ali that says, "Service to humanity is the rent that we pay to live on earth." Service to humanity. And I'm going to use this opportunity as well to say rest in peace to John Lewis, who just passed away. Rest in power to that. He fought for humanity. He served, and he did a great job. So I want to just say thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you, man. Pleasure, bro.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We're going to be having another guest, hopefully next Saturday. So please be on the lookout for that. And see you guys next week.
Man. Take care.
Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye.